Real quick, thank you to Mary Hill and Mario Perez for helping in the campaign to save a child's life. Alright, I've been reading many ideas and questions related to faceless men, Arya, Littlefinger, and so on. So I figured I'd start this topic with a video on something that I noticed today for the first time ever, cause I'm thick as a castle wall. Melisandre tried to seduce Jon in the books. That scene and her follow-up scene where she's doing things to try to win him over since he had denied her, these two scenes shed light on 5 pretty cool things. First, Melisandre's softer side. The second of these 2 chapters is Melisandre's only point of view chapter in the entire series so far. It's an incredible chapter, not only because it's dense with visions and magic, but also because we get a look inside her head, and she's not as bad a person as you may have previously thought. She's got a softer side. Here's an example. In the books, Davos eats a lot of fermented crab. I'm kidding. But he's got 7 sons, so him and Miss Onion are getting really busy down at Cape Wrath. Davos's 4 oldest sons die at the Battle of Blackwater, and his 2 youngest sons are back home with Mama Dukes. But his 4th son, Devon, a young teenager, he's Stannis' squire, so he heads up to the wall with them. When Stannis rides south to battle, Stannis orders Devon to stay at Castle Black, and Devon is presumably upset because, you know, all boys his age dream of glory. But in truth, it was not Stannis' choice. Stannis left Devon behind because Melisandre had asked him to. Here are her thoughts. The 4 eldest sons of Davos Seaworth had perished in the battle on the Blackwater, when the king's fleet had been consumed by green fire. Devon was the 5th born, and safer here with her than at the king's side. Lord Davos would not thank her for it, no more than the boy himself, but it seemed to her that Seaworth had suffered enough grief. Pretty cute. So she's brainwashed and she sees everything as black and white.
There's only one war. Life against death.
And because of this,
Because of mistakes I made. Terrible mistakes.
But her heart's in the right place, more often than not. So that's the first cool takeaway from these 2 scenes. Melisandre is not evil. She's grey. Numero dos. The parallels between Stannis Baratheon and Jon Snow. Melisandre's first Azor Ahai and her second. So Melisandre is having visions of Jon Snow over and over, which makes her realize he's important. So she wants to make a shadow baby with him. In the show, it's pretty clear cut. She comes in, opens up her robe, gives him a little lap dance, yada yada, and the fool denies her. But in the books, it's easy to miss. Melisandre does not physically try to seduce him. In fact, she keeps a little bit of distance from Jon Snow, because she wants to work with him, but she can feel the mistrust pouring off him like a black fog. So she doesn't want to come on too strong, because she doesn't want to push him away. She recalls dancing that same dance with Stannis back at the beginning of the story. Quote, "In truth, the young Lord Commander and her king had more in common than either one would ever be willing to admit. Stannis had been a younger son, living in the shadow of his elder brother, just as Jon Snow, bastard-born, had always been eclipsed by his true-born sibling, the fallen hero men had called the Young Wolf. Both men were unbelievers by nature, mistrustful, suspicious. The only gods they truly worshipped were honor and duty."
I can't.
Why?
I swore a vow.
Number 3. Clues to Azor Ahai and Lightbringer. Melisandre wants to make a shadow baby with Jon.
The power to cast shadows.
I don't think Stannis would like that very much.
Then we shouldn't tell him.
But hidden in the words are clues to Azor Ahai and Lightbringer. And in the show's adaptation of this scene, they throw it right in our faces. There's a huge clue there, but I made a separate video on that already, so go check out the link above. In short, the passage alludes to Lightbringer being a metaphor, being a person. Here's one interpretation. I think this one is completely solid, and here's one of my own. Fans either love this one or hate it. The Night King was the first Lightbringer. But in terms of this specific scene, Melisandre prays for a glimpse of Azor Ahai, and all she sees is snow. So if she's right, which is a big if, but if she's right, that may imply that Dany is Nissa, that she dies in childbirth, just like Jon's mom, Tyrion's mom, and her own mom. Let's hope not, but the writing's on the wall. 2 more. Number 4. Glamour, illusions. So Melisandre is interested in Jon Snow. She wants to make a shadow baby with
the White Wolf, the king in the north,
or the Wagon.
Are you a virgin?
So she approaches him, quote, "When he turned, he saw Ygritte. She stood beneath the scorched stones of the Lord Commander's tower, cloaked in darkness and in memory." The light of the moon was in her red hair, kissed by fire. When he saw that, Jon's heart leapt into his mouth. Ygritte, he said. Lord Snow. The voice was Melisandre's. Surprise made him recoil from her. Lady Melisandre. He took a step backwards. I mistook you for someone else. At night, all robes are gray, yet suddenly, hers were red. He did not understand how he could have taken her for Ygritte. She was taller, thinner, older. So what happened there? Melisandre was being super shady. She was trying to seduce Jon by glamoring herself to look like his love, which at the time was Ygritte. And it was working for a little bit. But then Jon Snow snapped out of it and he saw the truth. He saw who she really was. Well, not really. He didn't see past her sexy Mel glamour, but he saw through the Ygritte illusion at least. Which leads us to number 5, true seeing.
The true seeing. That is the heart of swordplay.
It took a minute, but Jon Snow was able to see through one level of her glamour, which is pretty impressive. If we go all the way back to Jon Snow's first chapter, Benjen points out that Ned doesn't seem very festive at the episode 1 feast, and we learn that Jon had noticed that too. A bastard had to learn to notice things, to read the truth that people hid behind their eyes. That line always felt important. I think it is, in terms of everything Jon does, from defending Sam to pardoning Ygritte, to seeing the others, the wildlings, as part of the realm. But it might have a bigger payoff. As we said yesterday about this line.
Killed him. He turned them all.
You don't understand.
That line may imply that Jon does not want to kill the Night King, or else he will effectively kill all the children.
They were born on the wrong side of the wall. Doesn't make them monsters.
But there might be another explanation to Jon's words. Jon has been pressing Sam to find out more about the others, and so far, Sam has found out that they raise the dead as their thralls, so you have to burn the dead.
Will you burn me? After, or I'll come back and haunt you.
And Sam read that Valyrian steel and dragonglass can kill them, but they already knew all that. The passage in the books has something that the show left out, something that might be very important. It ends with Jon asking Sam, did you find out who the others are, where they come from, what they want? The Night King backstory. They're gonna find out the Night King backstory. Why? Because Jon can sense that something's up. Expect Jon to leverage Bran and Sam to find out just that, and odds are, they find out that the Night King's life was similar to Jon's own. He was the
Bastard of Winterfell.
Bastard of Winterfell.
He's a bastard of Winterfell.
Not only that, he was the first Lightbringer, and he killed his father, and maybe his mother. I'll get to that tomorrow. Back to glamour though. Mel did not glamour herself as Ygritte in the show, but listen to what she says to Jon as she leaves the room.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
So let's give Dan and Dave some credit for that one, a nod to book readers. Pretty cool.